What do I think of the new Zelda trailer? Did they launch a new one, or is it the one that's been out for a little while? If that's what you're talking about, I really don't know. I don't know what that game even is. It's not clear if they're trying to do just Breath of the Wild 1.5 or if they're trying to do something totally new. It's mysterious to me. I'm intrigued. Of course, I'm going to play it, but I don't know what that game even is going to be like. It's not really clear. It's so weird that they've been quiet. You mean the Nintendo guys behind Breath of the Wild sequel, behind Tears of the Kingdom? I mean, I just don't know what this looks like. It's like a sequel to a Spider-Man game. Like, I just don't know how you take this from Breath of the Wild, which was amazingly well received, and a lot of us played the ever-living crap out of it. I don't know how you take basically that map and turn it into a full-fledged sequel that will recapture anywhere near the same amount of magic. Because, like, I loved Breath of the Wild. I put so much time into that. But that's part of the problem too, is I know that map, I know that world, I know the combat. I've been there, done that. And so they've got to do something different to pique my interest. And so far, everything they've shown looks like Breath of the Wild, but they have like more verticality and maybe tougher enemies. I really just don't know. But I mean, this is one of the things. Nintendo's devs that are working on this, they are literally world class. Like these guys set the standard for open world design after Breath of the Wild in 2017. A lot of the inspiration for Elden Ring came from Breath of the Wild. A lot of the inspiration for all of these big open world games that have come out since came from Breath of the Wild. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they take the formula and they rework it. Because, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at like this. I'm like, okay, so they have verticality, they have a big map. Okay, I'm not sure how that makes a sequel, but whatever. And I can just pass it off real quick here, hand wave it away. But these guys have been sitting in offices, and this has been their life for 6 years. Honestly, before Breath of the Wild even came out, I'm sure they were brainstorming stuff like this. They were trying to figure out what they would do with the sequel and what were the ideas they had to cut for Breath of the Wild that now they get to implement. I don't know. But they do, and they've been thinking about this ever since, 2016, realistically, probably before that. -2 of the years due to COVID. Yeah, but like even this, I don't think that they just stopped work. That would have been early, like, conceptualizing phase. That was when they were trying to figure out what this game was going to be and add new systems and things. And they show some new stuff. Like, of course, this verticality, there's going to be a ton of new areas. Like, that's reworked. I don't remember this area with these areas raised like that, those cliff faces. This is, of course, new. So there's new stuff added there. There are some new enemies, new ammo types, these rails. That's interesting. That's different. New puzzles. Come on, get to the one thing that I'm particularly interested in. Yeah, these customizable vehicles. That's something I don't know what the hell to make of that. Like, how robust is that going to be? Can you create your own tanks? Like, even this that he has right here, what's the point of this? Okay, well, we built like a car, but is this, I get it, it's faster than running, but is it going to be faster than horseback? Maybe horses aren't in this game. I don't think we've seen any. Maybe we have. Maybe I just tuned it out because I'm used to it. But like, what's the point of this? Are we collecting materials and equipment that we need to move with a large car like this? Is that what it's useful for? You see him creating like a hovercraft so he can fly up here. That makes sense. Add verticality. You can customize vehicles to get up there faster. That's super cool. I like that. And you see there's this far off platform over here. So it looks like there's a whole new map above the map that you already know. And that's kind of a cool twist. I don't know like how fun that'll be, but I mean, it might be super fun. But like, again, if we took the formula and we took the pitch for Breath of the Wild, it's like, yeah, we're going to give players access to a huge open world that's like kind of super empty. But we're going to sprinkle in a bunch of random stuff for players to find. Like, you can find these little rock stacks, and then you'll rearrange the rocks in the right order, and then you get a little thing that helps you upgrade your inventory. People probably, if they had heard that, would be like, okay, that sounds super boring. So, I think that it's actually quite possible that it ends up being more captivating than it might look from the outside. Yeah, like you said at one point, these look like customizable builds or something. A lot of Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. Yeah, there's some, like, this is a mechanic that has a lot of potential. Yeah, oh, there's horse riding. So there is horse riding. And you see like all this verticality up here. So you'll probably spend the first chunk of the game trying to build out a vehicle to get you up there, I would guess. I just don't know if it's going to be as magical, basically. I mean, I loved Breath of the Wild so much that they would have to do something pretty amazing in this game to top it, and or even just to recapture that same feeling. And they might do it, because if anybody could do it, it's them. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. But as for this one, like, I've also been weirded out because the trailers haven't been that captivating yet. But we'll see. We'll see. I think they've been playing it safe with the marketing, because they were going up against, you know, Hogwarts Legacy, and before that, late last year, they had God of War going up against. Before that, you know, Elden Ring dominated the conversation. So I think they've just been waiting for it to be their turn to dominate the news cycle. And I mean, honestly, that's just about now. So we're probably going to start seeing a ton of more stuff about Tears of the Kingdom. It's just going to be a matter of time, basically. See right there, like the weird frame drops. I got to dig into this. I don't know what the deal is, but the old streaming PC that was like way, way weaker never had these weird stutters and frame drops and stuff. I don't know why we're having these now all of a sudden. To be fair, Breath of the Wild had very similar marketing. Yeah, maybe it's just like retroactive, but I remember it being like all anybody could talk about. But I think the reason for that was that it was paired with a new console launch. Because it was like Breath of the Wild and the Switch, both of which were different and exciting. So I think that it got a ton of just general buzz going on. Because everybody wanted to buy a Switch and you couldn't find them anywhere. And everybody wanted a Switch because everybody was saying that Breath of the Wild was one of the best games of the last 10 years. And so everybody wanted it. So it just kind of created a circle or a cycle of hype. And this time around, I mean, it's on the Switch. So it's not like they're pairing it with a console launch. I think they probably should have. But they might be waiting for the next Mario to be released. And they'll pair that with whatever comes after the Switch. My guess would be the Switch is going to be the new DS, though. I don't think that they're going to be. I don't think that they're going to be like discontinuing the Switch. It's been way too successful. So I think they keep the Switch like the DS, and they'll just come up with something new for the next console. But it's about time. I mean, the Wii U was what? Wasn't that like 2011 that they launched the Wii U? And the Wii was 2006. So 5 years between that. And then it was about 5 to 6 years to the Switch in 2017. And so right now it's been almost exactly 6 years since we got the Switch, which is about when Nintendo normally releases a new console. So I don't know. I don't know when we'll get it. Hopefully soon. I mean, the Switch is, it's extremely outdated at this point. With the Steam Deck out now, what that thing can do in terms of power, it just makes the Switch seem like a toaster oven. Like, it's ridiculously weak compared to the other offerings on the market right now. Because when the Switch launched, it was basically, yeah, we can run Nintendo stuff, and then we can run last-gen games. At this point now, though, that's 2 generations ago. Because the Switch could run 360 and PS3 games pretty comfortably. But well, with, tweaked ports at 720p, but it can still run them. But this time around, like now that those games are 2 generations old, and you can play last gen games on your Steam Deck, and even some current gen games on your Steam Deck. So the Switch just doesn't make a lot of sense anymore, unless you're playing those exclusive games. So I don't know. So maybe the next 2, 3, 4 years we might see something. I mean, I if I were them, I'm just confused why they wouldn't be releasing a new console paired with either this sequel, because this is going to be gangbusters. And honestly, this would probably be a console seller, especially if it were noticeably graphically improved. But I think part of it is that they probably intended this game to come out a couple of years ago and COVID delayed it. And so they developed this from the ground up for the Switch, and now it's right around the time when they would normally be putting out a new console, and they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll ride out the wave of the Switch a little longer. But if they can come along and if they can bring something, a new console that's a little bit more powerful, I don't know if they'll do another handheld or if they'll try to do something wacky. I mean, that's the one thing with Nintendo is they always come up with these insane ideas that don't sound like they should work, but once you get it in your hands, you're like, oh, that actually is super fun. Like the Wii was a blast. Everybody had a Wii. Like my grandparents had a Wii. It was crazy. And the Switch has done kind of a similar thing. The Wii U, we won't talk about the Wii U. But that was mainly, I think the Wii U is just an example of one of the worst marketing disasters in modern corporate history. Like, I remember them talking about it in my marketing class. They were like, what's an example of a horrible marketing decision that probably cost a company billions upon billions upon billions of dollars? And people threw out a few different examples. And he's like, the one I'm thinking of is the Wii U from Nintendo, because everybody thought it was just a new controller for the Wii. They didn't realize it was a new console, so nobody bought it. And everybody in the store saw it was the Wii and then a letter. So it's kind of like, the PS4 Pro, but the difference was the Wii U was also like, it wasn't a clear value add. It was like, oh, it's a weird controller, Yeah, the Wii was something else, man. It really was. Back in the day, dude, my uncle John, he bought our family a Wii. I remember we were staying up in a house we had rented out for Christmas in Estes Park, which was like the first time we had ever done something like that. And I would have been 9 years old at the time. And so the house was super cool. It was super awesome. They had a GameCube in the basement of that house we rented out. And that was the first time I ever really got to just play games. Because before that, we didn't have gaming stuff. I don't think we had gotten a PS2 by then. I think we got a PS2 after that. So we didn't have that. He came to visit us for Christmas while we were staying in that house for like a week or so up in the mountains. And he told everybody, our present's going to be a Wii. So you're going to get a Wii for the whole family. And for us, that was crazy. It was like you basically bought the family a new car. That's what it felt like. It was crazy. Like we lost our minds, and we got the Wii and we loved that thing, dude. Loved that thing. Wii was big when I was in college, and the game parties were so fun. Yeah, dude, back Wii bowling was preem. A lot of people didn't really play anything other than those Wii Sports games. It's crazy that that game that came with the console, I'm pretty sure it came with the console. I don't think you had to buy it. I think it came with it. Was ridiculous. It's just insane. But Nintendo has the ability to just make those games that just become phenomenons. And it's crazy, but they come up with these weird little ideas, and then they turn that idea into a whole game, and then it's just amazing. He took my thing. Red flag.